My sister and mother made my honeymoon a disaster and hate my husband because he was too fruity, so I am dropping my family. Import information. My mom, sister and I are in the care field. My mom has been a retired care worker for over 25 years, my sister has been in the field for 2 years, and I've been in the field for 11 years. My husband and I were married in 2024 in our 11th year. My mom has been discussing having her immediate family on one big family cruise in her retirement year. This year, she retired. She informed my husband and me that she would pay for our portion and a balcony suite as a honeymoon present. She told us that though this is a family cruise, we should treat it like a honeymoon and relax, enjoy it, and not stress. Also, to have lots of time to ourselves. We were both worried as it was a lot of money. Plus, mixing a honeymoon with a family cruise seemed daunting. We weren't sure how to juggle everything. But my mom told us not to worry. We convinced her to allow us to pay for any extra expenses, like drinks items bought on and off the cruise. She agreed. We both thanked her profusely and showed how grateful we were throughout the trip. Unfortunately, our honeymoon/family cruise ended up being an emotional disaster. My husband and I had times when we were happy and did our best to overcome the overwhelming stress. There was a lot of bullying and temper tantrums from my sister that were unnecessary and uncalled for and directed towards me mostly and sometimes at everyone else. My sister has always been high-strung and over-opinionated about most situations. She has also been one of my husband and my biggest supporters, which we value highly. Just by being fruity, my husband lost his entire family for his choice. So, we value love and support highly. I don't want you to get the wrong idea. We love my sister. But her treatment of us was not okay. Before the cruise, my siblings, husband, and Tim met up. The cruise topic came up, and we all agreed that giving our mom one day to enjoy the cruise without caring for Cassie would be a nice thank you to her. My mom also paid most of my sister's and Tim's expenses and all my brother's expenses. This was her choice. We talked about how either Amber and Tim or my husband and I would take Cassie for the first half of the day, and then we would switch. Since my sister and I are both in the care field, it only made sense not to have us together. It was a discussion, not a set-in-stone plan. However, on the cruise, it quickly became clear that my brother and Tim got a free pass not to look after Cassie, and the one day of taking Cassie turned into 4 days of care, lasting between 3 and 5 hours on our downtime each time. This was never agreed upon. Never discussed, never brought up to me or my husband. The 3 occasions that Cassie was put into my care were out of nowhere. I accepted all 3 times so as not to cause a scene, and of course, I wanted my mom to relax. All 3 times, my sister and mom would go to the spa to spend time together. The 4th time my husband and I looked after Cassie just so my mom could enjoy around 4 hours by herself alone because she needed a break. This time it was our choice as she looked so stressed. She enjoyed the solo time alone. I love Cassie. She's family, but she's also working. She needs a lot of help to do most things. My husband did his best to help out, but I was the primary caregiver. Cassie was happy, but the 3 times I was given the task, it was by Amber, not my mom. Each time, my husband and I had to cancel our plans together. There were one-time events and a couple of activities on the cruise we wanted to experience and weren't given a choice. It was our turn to take her. And we did. No matter what I did, I always managed to do something wrong. No matter how hard I tried to follow Amber's instructions, I always missed something. She never stopped reminding me how lucky it was that mom was spending so much money on my husband and I. How grateful we should be. Each time we went to buy a special drink, she would remind us it cost extra money. Whenever we discussed buying pictures or merchandise, she reminded us not to abuse our mom's kindness. One day, she encouraged talking to our mom about purchasing something. The next day, telling me I'm being selfish and not thinking about mom. When all I did was retell what she said to me the previous day. On many occasions during dinner in the crowded dining hall, she would either slow her speech to talk to me like a child, or try and teach me how to do things properly so I don't screw up next time. There was even a time when she handed a signature photo album book to our waitstaff to sign for Cassie. I was very overwhelmed, had an anxiety attack, and kind of blanked. Amber was yelling instructions at me where she could have easily done what she wanted herself. Then, she continued to berate me in front of over 40 people. I was utterly humiliated. She said she couldn't fathom how I couldn't understand the simplest instructions. I have never in all my life been so torn down by her. She treated me so poorly. I was up most nights sick. I couldn't figure out what I was doing wrong. I wanted to enjoy myself but felt like I was in a nightmare. My husband was furious. I asked my mom if she knew what was going on. She said yes but wouldn't tell us. I said I'd go talk to Amber. My mom begged me not to. That Amber would come to tell me what was going on her own. Well, she never did. With each passing day, she became more unbearable to be around. She got meaner and meaner. Even publicly accusing me of forcing our mom to do our laundry, when I was just asking how the machine worked. Out of the 7-day cruise, my husband and I only got 8 hours together alone to enjoy our honeymoon. Everything else was spent with someone with the family, mostly catering to Cassie or Amber and going on mostly fun group excursions. I am wondering whether he will ship with his family again. I love my family but will never travel with my sister again. I've never treated her the way she treated me. I honestly felt like she hated me. After the cruise, I sent her a letter explaining how hurt I had been. How I felt like her own personal golfer and punching bag. How I felt so disrespected and used. She eventually wrote me a novel explaining her finances and my mother's finances and listing the many reasons why she was acting the way she was acting to try and excuse her behavior towards me. She then wrote an apology, or at least my mom who read the letter, said it was a good apology and to drop the situation and move on. This is a copy-paste from her apology. I'm not trying to pretend I'm some saint here. I should have realized how frustrated I was and asked you guys why you were making things so hard, and instead I assumed that you were being difficult for no reason and let my frustration build until my fuse turned into a switch. I lost my cool a lot, and I know how I get when that happens. It's not nice, at all, and I am genuinely sorry for that. In hindsight, I also should have been a lot more explicit that the whole spa thing was about mom getting a break, not me wanting to monopolize her time, instead of assuming you would realize that on your own. And I could have made up a little calendar or something so we could all get on the same page about when it would happen, assuming you were willing, rather than hoping you'd be able to figure it out without me having to pester you every day. If nothing else, that would have given the two of you a chance to let me know that this never was a family cruise to you and that there was no way you were going to give up an hour of your honeymoon every day, even as a thank you to Mom for paying for the whole thing. And then I could have figured out a plan B that wouldn't have required a single thing from either of you. Again, I love my sister and my family. But the reactions have been terrible. My mom has decided with my sister to go on the radio silent to my husband. They used to talk every day, saying I crushed Amber by calling her out. If I intended to hurt Amber, I succeeded. Even though she told me she agreed Amber was wrong, I should have just let it go. She doesn't want to die, knowing I broke the family. My brother wants nothing to do with it and has dropped communication except for one conversation taking her side. Saying her silence was better than me raising a stink. Saying he would hate to have his health fail and have him die knowing the family was in shambles. Her partner, Tim, is silent. Amber was completely silent after issuing me an ultimatum. Unless I can prove to her that I'm not a selfish, ungrateful, gaslighting liar, then she's done with our relationship. Preferred outcome, to have my family back. Realistic outcome, maybe I can get them to agree to family counseling to repair what little is left of our relationship. But in all honesty, it looks pretty grim. I don't want to sound dramatic, but my heart literally hurts every day. I wanted to give my husband an actual family that would love him for him. I felt with all my heart it would be my family. But they all proved that's not going to happen. Dropping it and forgiving her mistreatment would only result in me resenting my family. I don't want to lose them, but feel so abused by them. I'm lost. I don't know what to do. More info. So Cassie is not related to my family. She came into my mother's care while I still lived with my parents 11 years ago. She was experiencing daily seizures at that time. So, I could only have her initially because she and I were caseworkers. I would look after Cassie at night when she had nighttime seizures and mom Cassie in the morning. Amber has not lived with the family since she was 18, so she never had to deal with the level of care Cassie needed to the amount we both have. She was a regular drop-in and spent time with family members but always had to return home. Cassie has never been in Amber care solo for a long time, normally, for little outings and such. If she visits my mom, she will stay at the house with Cassie while my mom runs errands or distract Cassie if my mom is feeling overwhelmed. Nowadays, this is what the family does while visiting mom. But it's not an Amber only thing. She's not the only one who helps out with Cassie when around her. We all do our best to lighten the load for mom. She's getting older and has expressed how tired she is and doesn't know how much longer she can care for Cassie. I went back to my sister's letter and found this and I think she's pissed that we got a balcony suite. If I'd known that you'd be so resentful about helping mom with some of the Cassie-related emergencies that came up during the cruise. If I'd known, you would consider the request to give up an hour a day to be abusive. If I'd known that you were viewing the trip not as the family vacation that mom had planned and paid for but only as the honeymoon that your family kept imposing themselves on, then I would have insisted that mom put Tim and me in the connecting room and get you a room somewhere else on the ship where you could pretend the rest of us didn't exist until there was something fun you wanted to do with us. I wouldn't have bothered getting an expensive spa pass and would have asked brother to drag mom up alone and make sure she didn't come out for at least an hour while I entertained Cassie. Big update, when I wrote my first post, I was not in a place where I could remove myself fully from my mom. The reason is this. Right off the cruise. After I sent my sister Amber the letter explaining how she hurt me on my honeymoon, my mom was working on my husband and me to let a family friend do our taxes. We have been going to a company for years, but she was extremely convincing. Saying her friend had 15 years of accounting experience, her friend also said this. We accepted as she asked us to trust her. And that trust bit us in the ass hard. This was back in August of 2024. Next thing we know, the family friend screwed up on our taxes so bad we are now owing a large sum of money back to the government, double digits. We found this out unexpectedly in December 2024. And our world was immediately flipped upside down. But in a way, I guess it's as bad as our financial situation is. It's come with a lot of clarity. My mom refused to help, not even offering to help us find resources or solutions. She told me that it was our fault for not doing our taxes in the first place. It was hard not to blame her for getting us to trust her friend. My husband and I are adults, and we chose to put our trust in her. We own that choice. Still sucks, though. Nobody is sending happy birthdays on my birthday or happy holidays for Christmas. I had never forgotten this, but this year was missed because of this, on top of everything else. My husband and I decided to have no contact with all family members, Amber, Tim, mom, and brother. As space, we felt was for the best. We didn't know how long, but we knew for our health it was best. Now comes January 2025, when things took an even more bizarre and brutal turn. Suddenly, on our social media accounts a poster left comments exposing our financial situation. It was so accurate that we knew who it came from. The only people who knew were my husband, mom, and her friend who did our taxes. I sent screenshots to my mom, asking if she knew anything about it. She denied having any involvement. We blocked the accounts within an hour. Tim reached out through Facebook. He said that nobody knew he was sending me this message, that he was checking up on me, and that he and the family didn't know how to act based on how my husband and I acted. We immediately looked at the posts and the account we blocked and put two and two together. The account that posted the private financial information was Tim. I again reached out to my mom, but this time by phone. I asked her to tell me the truth about the post. She began to cry and said that she told Amber all our financial information because she just needed to talk to someone about it. I informed her that she had broken both my husband's and my trust by doing so. She blatantly lied to me when I asked the first time. We asked her not to tell anyone and she told my sister, who she knew we were going through problems. We had also discovered that my mom also told her best friend and Amber all of my and my husband's private medical information. Which shortly after, Amber created another account and began to slander us online with this information. We use and do the same thing across all our media sites. This was shocking as my mom never, ever divulged financial or medical information to me about my siblings when I asked in the past. She always said it was not her business and I had to ask them if I was curious. So why was my husband and I not given the same respect? We then dealt with this for over 2 weeks, reporting and blocking accounts. It was so incredibly horrible. Again, I sent screenshots to my mom to show her how the information she gave was now being used against us. Publicly. She proves it was Amber and Tim, yet she stands by them. Over time, through the slander, my mom and brother, we learned that my mom, Amber, Tim, and brother had constantly talked about my husband and me way before the wedding. Amber and my mom especially, and not in a positive way. Through my sister's slander, we also found out the true feelings towards my husband. They hate him, which broke both our hearts. He's too fruity. He's a substance abuser, lazy, dirty, etc. awful things. The family has made it known that they find me unstable, brainwashed, and stupid. And my husband is a terrible manipulator who's pulling the strings. My mom then began sending pictures of Cassie to my phone, even though I blocked her on all other media. I asked her to stop, as it was a form of guilt tripping and avoidance. Regarding her actions, she got very mad at me for trying to guilt me. So, I blocked her phone number, which was our last form of contact. Now, my whole immediate family is fully blocked, and I feel sick to my stomach. We only got married last July, and I feel like my inner family has literally died. It crushes me almost daily. I'm doing my best to get by, but my sleep and appetite are heavily affected. I have already been getting good mental health help. That's a big reason I blocked them, and I am writing this update as it's been recommended that I just put it out into the world. I honestly don't know what to do. If possible, I would like to have them in my life again. Nasty words were exchanged on both sides. My husband was so attacked by them all that, honestly, he's emotionally done. I don't blame him. I cannot ask him to allow them back into his life. They were awful to him, and making things right felt impossible. We have a good support group of family and friends we made, though not connected by blood. We are both blessed and grateful. This does make it a bit better as we have people to fall back on. Thankfully, I have no other updates. Hopefully, they can leave us alone. Hopefully, we can live in peace, and I can learn to get over losing that part of my life.